saying hi, but they can see us. So I guess we are good to go, Julie.
Okay, we're in.
That's right. So thank you, everyone. This is my very first lunch with Lisa. I'm Lisa Nickerson, the CEO of Nickerson, a full-service communications and creative services company with offices in Boston, or well, right now everywhere, but generally it's Boston and Miami, and our team is mostly in Boston and Miami. And the reason that we're doing this, this has been a stressful time for everybody. We have all had to pivot in one way or another, whether it's pivoting all of our work style, our marketing plans, where we're working, what we're doing, and who we're working with during the day. Some of us are working with our children now during the day. Julie, you're working with your dog during the day now. And there's a lot of negative stuff, and the news is tough and fearful. And I think one of the things that would be most helpful to people is to have suggestions of how to do things that help them, and how do we pivot? How do we shift ourselves for what our new normal is, no matter how long that's going to be. And knowing that we're using video so much during this time, we all know, and I've got to figure out how to get this to be quiet. We all know that this isn't going to go away now. Now that we know how easy video is to use and how much actually more effective and efficient it can be in a lot of ways, now we need to create a whole new skill set about how we use video really well. But in the meantime, what are we going to do for now? So today, for those of you who don't know Julie Brown, Julie is a business development strategist, networking coach, keynote speaker, and was Crew Entrepreneur of the Year in Boston this year. And she just wrote a book that's coming out in the last week of May, first week of June, which if you get our follow-up email today, you'll be able to get on her wait list for this. And Julie, take it away from here.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I guess my first piece of advice for everybody is to just say, breathe. We're all in this together. As a global community, we're in this together, so it can feel like we're isolated and alone, but we're not. So the first thing I want to say after that is social gatherings may be on hold, and your in-person meetings may be on hold, and the conferences that you had may be on hold, but relationships most definitely are not on hold. When we think about all the things we're not allowed to do, we're not focusing on the things that we still can do. And we can do a lot of things right now. And we can be wildly effective in our networking and business development, even during this time. So don't hunker down. Don't turtle. Reach out. Networking and business development are critical for business growth all of the time, and that hasn't changed. And it's even more important now. So one, don't cancel your meetings. This is our new way of doing things right now. We learned yesterday that we're going to be doing these social distancing measures at least until April 30th. So this is our new way of doing business. So if you have had any meetings, coffees, any one-to-ones, any group meeting, company meetings that you put off thinking, well, we can't do this in a virtual setting, you need to learn how to do them in a virtual setting. And I think everybody last week got really, really familiar with Zoom and WebEx and GoToMeeting. We're all getting to be pretty proficient at it. So anything that was canceled, please reschedule it, because this is the way we're going to be doing it for the foreseeable future.
Julie, let me just jump in real quick. I want to remind everybody that we do have a live chat, which a lot of you have been participating in. So thank you. I'm going to write thank you to all of you. We have an open Q&A. So if you have any questions along the way for either me or for Julie, please put it out there. And we do have a live poll going right now. This poll I'm going to have every single day because I actually want to track the answers over time. And it's, how are you managing working from home? And you either love it, or it's working well for now, or I can't wait to get back to the office. So we're just going to keep this one open for a few more minutes. So if you haven't had a chance to answer this poll, if you could do so, that would be great. And then we have another one. The next two are related to Julie, but just want to do a quick reminder of those polls. And again, really encourage people to ask questions along the way.
Okay, great. So the second thing I would say is take some time to connect with your existing network, including your past clients. Like I said, it's really easy to feel alone, but the truth is you're not. You have a network. So now would be a great time to analyze your network. And we're going to put some of my worksheets in the handouts that you can all download on how you can.
They're there now.
Yeah.
Julie, they're there now. So if anybody wants to go to handouts, your handouts are there.
Great. So what you can do is take a moment to think about how many people are in your network. Start analyzing the strength of those relationships. My book gets into this a lot, but what is it your circle of 5, the people you spend the most time with, 15, 50, which are 50 robust relationships, your outer network of 100. Start filling out those sheets and think to myself, when was the last time I talked to these people in my network? And then every day, pick 3 to 5 people to pick up the phone and call. I have been in since the second I was told I had to work from home and my face-to-face meetings were put on hold. This was what I did. I picked up the phone and I had conversations with the people in my network, and they were basically around, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How can I help you? What can we commiserate on? And I have talked to people in my network that for some reason or another, I hadn't talked to in like 3 or 4 or 5 months. And it's been a really good way for me to tap back into my network. And doing things like that have led to like this webinar. So I reached, Lisa was one of the, well, Lisa got my email that said, call somebody in your network. And she called me and said, how are you doing? And I said, well, I'm good, but all of my public speaking, commitments have been canceled. All my keynotes have been canceled. And she said, all right, well, we'll set something up and we'll get you speaking again. And I did a webinar last week, again, based off of having conversations like that I still want to be able to help people in this time, even though I can't be in front of a live audience. So you don't know what's going to come out of those conversations that you're having with people.
Julie, quick question I have for you, because I have your organize your contacts right here, right? We're not quick and easy. Some of us still like paper. Can you tell me what this means? You've got 5, 15, and 50. I know that for me, I always think closest to the dollar, right? So what are those 5 people that I've really got to connect with and then down? But why don't you talk about how you look at this?
So the 5 is, you know, the saying, you are the 5 people you spend the most time with. So when I work with people, I try to have them really think about who they're spending their business development hours with. And are those people the people that are constantly helping them be better? Are they invested in their success? Are you helping each other with information transformation and keeping each other on as up to date on what's happening in your given industry? My 5 are the people that I know I wouldn't be as successful with if I didn't have that relationship with them. And then the 15 is, that is still a really robust, strong relationship. You just don't spend as much time with them as you do your 5. The 50 is like the 3rd ring of your network. These are people you maybe see every 2 months, you see at events all of the time. You could email them or you could call them and they would pick up the phone and they would help you. They would give you information. And then the 100 is your outer network, and there's superpower in your outer network. I don't think people realize how important a very wide and deep bench is as far as your network goes. So, I mean, if the statistic is 85% of jobs are filled through networking, but people don't know about that statistic is about 75% of those jobs are filled from the outer network. And 72% of projects that win awards involve people collaborating with businesses in their outer network, that outer network of 100. And there's been some studies called the study of weak ties, which talks about how much outer networks actually my dog actually help your life with information and whatnot. So every single circle is super important. So what I want you to do is just be able to understand your network and where your relationships lie. And there's nothing wrong with any of those different tiers. We're just trying to figure out where each one is so we have a better information on how our network is stacked and how deep it is.
Perfect.
Okay. So another thing we should do in this time, because everybody is doing everything virtually, is spend some time beefing up your LinkedIn profile, because people now more than ever are doing a lot of information gathering on LinkedIn and looking at people on LinkedIn. There's 500 million users on LinkedIn in 200 countries. Like, it is the singular platform for business networking. So now is a great time to make sure that your headshot is up to date, that you have filled out all of your information correctly, that you're using a bio that not only describes the problems that you solve for your clients, but also adds a little bit of personality to it so that people can start connecting to you on a human level. Have all of your past employment in there with the correct dates, have your schooling in there with the correct dates, any groups that you belong to, and then also think about any recommendations that you can ask for. This is a really good way to beef up your LinkedIn profile. So my profile has recommendations from past clients. It has recommendations from past colleagues. It has recommendations from my contemporaries in the marketplace who do the same job as me. It has recommendations from people who have hired me, event planners who have hired me. Anything that you can beef up your LinkedIn profile. And what you do to send out a recommendation is you literally can go into the platform and pick somebody with which you want LinkedIn to send an email to say, I'm asking for a recommendation. And that recommendation that they write for you, it doesn't go live until you approve it. So you still have the right, the opportunity to approve it.
Someone has a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you feel that people are using LinkedIn more than Facebook or Instagram? And and actually, I would ask you, compared to maybe a month ago, how have things changed from what you see?
Yeah, so I'm on primarily my platforms that I use for my business are Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And right now, I would say I post the same content on all three platforms. But my content is business focused. So I would say right now, my level of engagement with my audience and new connections and new people seeing my articles is LinkedIn, and then Instagram, and then Facebook. And it might just be that I've been on the platforms, I've been the longest on Instagram, and then, I apologize, on LinkedIn, and then on Instagram, and then on Facebook. So my following is larger in that order. LinkedIn is perfect for disseminating useful information as far as articles and how you're helping your network and how you're increasing your visibility as a thought leader in your particular industry. I would go to LinkedIn first, but I would make sure that I'm using the write an article feature on LinkedIn and not just posting something under my profile. Because if you write an article, it has a greater opportunity to be seen and shared by other people. And so if somebody in your network shares your article, it is shared with their entire network. So your sphere of influence as far as that article goes has just been doubled. And then the next time somebody shares it, it's been doubled again. So I would use the post an article, write an article feature. And one thing about writing an article is there's a lot of free photography websites. If you Google royalty-free photography, you can probably find a free image that speaks to what you're talking about in your article, because articles on LinkedIn that have an image in the title header are 11 times more likely to be read than articles that don't have a feature image. So do that for yourself. There's a couple of really easy platforms, and I can follow up afterwards. I don't have the names on me, but I can follow up afterwards with what are really good royalty-free websites. And literally, you don't have to go through any hullabaloo as far as like creating an account. You literally just go in and you click download, and they ask you to give the photographer a credit. And it's really simple like that. So
Julie, with that, and speaking of pictures, you've done a really nice job of having professional shots done of you that are all sorts of different type, more serious, more fun, more casual. And I would encourage people while they're home, whether it's with your kids or whether it's with a spouse or a friend, just do some shots, right? Try them out, test them out. Why not?
Yep.
And you can always go into your Instagram filter and filter them up and make them look good, but have some fairly current pictures.
Yeah.
The neat thing about profile pictures is they are more casual looking than they used to be. They don't need to be, with the background and the suit so much anymore. But, this might be a good time while you're home just to try it out. And, and I was just thinking about that. Well, that means you've got to put your makeup on and get your hair done. And that's another thing, Julie, you were talking about this morning. It's just that routine. And I joked about that. I said, oh, wow, I had to blow my hair out today for the first time in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And, the idea of like, just maybe doing a little bit of that fixed up and doing and getting back in your routine is helpful. Real quick before we get to that though, just want to let you know that I closed that last poll, and 21% of you, which is not insignificant, love working from home and hope you can do it forever.
Oh.
21%. 47% said it's working pretty well for now. And 32% said, I can't wait to get back to the office. So I think those are some interesting stats, and I'm interested to see how those continue to go. What the poll we have open now, this was one of Julie's questions, is I think, and this is for you, just think the best way to meet a new business contact is at an event, through a mutual connection, on LinkedIn, or over email. And we'll keep that one up for another couple minutes. So talk about routine, Julie.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of studies involved with how to sort of maintain a level of sanity during times like this. And then these are unprecedented times, but everything keeps coming back to try to remain within a schedule. So try to make every day very similar so that you have structure to your, hello, baby. So you have structure to your day. So for me, I have kept the same exact schedule as if I was working from the office. I get up at 5:30. We have a downstairs gym. We have a downstairs gym, so in which we have a Peloton and a treadmill and all that stuff. So I get my workout in, and then
you put on your Peloton every day for real?
Like literally, I'm literally gonna have like quads. Like I'm gonna have to wear jams or something for pants because I'm not gonna fit into my jeans anymore because like my.
I, on the other hand, put jeans on this morning just to make sure they still fit.
Yeah, so that's another thing. So I have gotten dressed as if I was going to work every day, like literally put on jewelry and everything because Madeline, there's a squirrel outside, and Madeline wants us all to know about it. So I've been trying to maintain sort of a lifestyle as if everything is business as usual so that I'm in that mindset in my head. I won't lie. I started, I have a lot of Zoom cocktail parties that start maybe a little bit earlier than I would normally start, but hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not driving anywhere. So,
Julie, we got a couple of questions in here. I'm going to ask you two. One was back to when you were talking about the article. Do you have any rules of thumb for the length of article? And then I have another question. We can see how they might relate. I'm in a transition of jobs currently, and my job that I am in is drastically different than the job I'm striving to move into. I have a history of marketing within my current field. Is the best way to exemplify that by writing it into my LinkedIn as high points. I used to be in the office with no virtual contact, so this is another game changer for me. Before you answer that, I just want to note and plug a little bit later in the week. On Wednesday, we have JT O'Donnell, who is a national expert on careers and jobs. She has 3.5 million social media followers, and this is all she does is talk about job and job transition and positioning yourself for that. So you may want to tune in on Wednesday also at 12:15 with JT O'Donnell, but Julie, take it from there.
I'm sorry. So the question is, you are starting a new job that is different, or you're looking for a new job?
She'd love to get into a new job.
She's looking for a new job. So you always want to write what you want in a job. So whatever your, I'm sorry, my dog is losing it over that squirrel. Whatever you want your job to be that you are already emulating in your job, that's what I would put in as my skill set. Also, I will say, and I mentioned it before, the statistic is that 85% of jobs are filled through networking. And the reason that is because most jobs are not advertised. So you may be applying for jobs that if it's being advertised, it's a fraction of the number of jobs that are actually out there, because most jobs are filled through networking. So I would really start calling everybody I know and telling them that the job that you want, that you're in transition, and ask who you know that you might get an introduction to. Don't just rely on your existing network. Say, who do you know that you could introduce me to? Because that's the way you're probably going to find that next dream job and transition into that job. Those are just the facts. Those are, I mean, these are the statistics that most jobs aren't advertised. So you have to start letting people what you know, what you want, and what you're looking for, so that they can help you find it. And I hope that
Julia, a good mutual friend of ours who's also a top BD person, she was with one company and pitching another company for that company, and they offered her a job and said, we didn't even have this role, but you're the best salesperson I've ever had pitch me. And they created the role for her. She's been there for 7 years. She's on this webinar now. She knows, I think, the world of her, and she's hugely benefited that company the past number of years. Real quick on the polls, 78% of you said through a mutual connection is the best way to meet someone. 18% an event, 4% over LinkedIn. We have 4 minutes left, so I'm going to do one more poll. I know it flies. Development effectively while virtually distancing. See, this is the whole thing. It's just a lunch bite, right? 25 minutes to refresh our brains for the rest of the day. Things to think about. Start polling. Can we do business development effectively virtually distancing? If 3 more minutes, if you were going to wrap up, what are the key things people need to do today, Julie? Today.
Okay, so yes, that answer was through a mutual connection. So there's this thing called triadic closure. And that is a study in social networking about the fact that if you are introduced to somebody you don't know by somebody you know, you have a mutual connection, your relationship gets sort of fast-tracked because you share a relationship with somebody else. So my suggestion would be is during this time, do not meet new people. Reach out to people in your network and say, I still want to increase my network during this time. Who could you connect me to? Who could we set up a Zoom meeting with? Who could you send an email to connect me with? Because those are the ways that you build really strong relationships, is when you have a pivot point, when you have somebody in common that you have a relationship with. So think about who in your network you could ask for a strategic introduction to during this time of social distancing, because there's no excuse to not keep building relationships. Everybody's dying for human connection, even if it's just over Zoom.
Everybody's online right now, and everyone's at their computer. And some of the best advice that you were talking about earlier was, we're all on these Zoom calls with all these people. And the question is, are you following up with people after you get off? Because you know what? You're not getting in your car and going somewhere, and you're not running around doing 60 other things. Get off of that call or that video and immediately follow up. I thought that was like such a great reminder earlier, and make those LinkedIn connections right then so that they're part of that sphere of your network.
And I'm making sure whenever I'm invited to any sort of networking virtual cocktail thing, even if I don't know anybody in the Zoom meeting besides the person who's invited me, I say yes, because that is my opportunity to meet 5, 15, 20 new people and have the opportunity to follow up with them. I did this the other day, and I literally got booked to do a speaking engagement because the woman was like, I didn't know you were a public speaker. And I'm like, well, she didn't know me. So we followed up afterwards and set up a thing for me to do a virtual conference for her. Like, if I hadn't said, I'm just going to step out of my comfort zone, these people who haven't seen me, sometimes it's hard to get your personality across. Just be yourself, but put yourself in the position that you are meeting new people consistently during this time. You will be so proud of yourself. You will have met so many new people. You will be so much more advanced when this is all done, whenever this is all done and we're back to normal. Do that for yourself. It's super important.
We got 1 minute left. So right now, 75% said yes, you can do BD effectively while virtually distancing. 3% said no, but 22% said I don't know how. So this is going to be a great week for you all to tune in. It looks like Julie will need to come back. Tomorrow we have Candy O'Terry. If you're not familiar with Candy O'Terry, 30 years. She's been on broadcast radio. She's a speaker. She's a communications pro, and she's going to talk to people about how can you use your voice to be heard. While we're on video, we're all coming across differently. The dynamics have changed. The room is reset. So how can you be heard? Again, Wednesday is JT O'Donnell talking about careers and jobs. Thursday, Terry Trespicio, she's awesome. Julie, you did some work with Terry also about, again, how your message is coming through. And then Friday, for those of you in Boston, you all know Louis Bello. He's a terrific singer. He's got a great band. Well, his whole band had coronavirus, and they have just come out of recovering from coronavirus, and they're going to play for us on Friday. So every Friday we'll have music and entertainment, and hope to see you all the rest of the week.
And please, anybody that I didn't get to, please feel free to email me.
Yes, definitely. And we'll do a follow-up email with Julie's contact.
Great.
25 minutes, quick lunch bite. Thank you, everyone. Great first day.